Every aspect of our modern world runs on a secret. It's a force we rarely see, but always feel. It dictates where we live, what we eat, how we work. It even powers the invisible universe of data we depend on. This force isn't a new discovery. It's the absence of something. The removal of heat. This is the hidden story of how humanity truly mastered cold. And in doing so, built the world we know today. For most of human history, heat was a tyrant. It governed the rhythm of life and death. Food rotted. Diseases thrived in its embrace. Entire regions of the planet were rendered uninhabitable. Humanity's only defense was a fleeting resource. Ice. A gift from winter. In the 19th century, one man saw an empire in this frozen water. His name was Frederick Tudor. He was called the Ice King. His idea was seen as madness. He would harvest ice from the frozen ponds of New England. He would ship it to the hottest places on Earth. His first shipment in 1806 was a financial disaster. The ice melted. No one knew what to do with it. But Tudor was relentless. He perfected insulation, using sawdust to pack the ice blocks. He created a market where none existed. He taught Caribbean bartenders how to make iced cocktails. Soon, Tudor's ships were circling the globe. His ice cooled the drinks of British colonists in Calcutta. An entire industry was born from his obsession. Gangs of men descended on frozen lakes each winter. They used horse-drawn plows to score the ice into a grid. Long saws sliced through the frozen surface. It was brutal, dangerous work. Men fell into the frigid water. The ice was then floated to massive, insulated ice houses. These were the cathedrals of the cold industry. They held the winter harvest, waiting for the summer demand. This system was revolutionary. But it was fundamentally limited. It depended on geography. It depended on the seasons. It was a logistical nightmare. The world needed a better way. It needed to make cold, not just harvest it. The first breakthrough came from a place of desperation. In Apalachicola, Florida, Dr. John Gorrie watched his patients suffer. They were dying from yellow fever and malaria. Gorrie believed the diseases thrived in the tropical heat. He theorized that cooling the air could save lives. In the 1840s, he began to experiment. He designed a machine based on a simple principle. When a gas is compressed, it gets hot. When it's allowed to expand rapidly, it gets intensely cold. His invention used a steam-powered pump to compress air. That hot, compressed air was cooled with water. Then, it was released into a chamber, causing temperatures to plummet. Gorrie's machine worked. It produced blocks of artificial ice. He had created mechanical cold. He received the first U.S. patent for mechanical refrigeration in 1851. But the world wasn't ready. The powerful natural ice lobby ridiculed him. His financial backers died. Dr. Gorrie died broke and defeated. His vision of air-conditioned hospitals remained a dream. But the blueprint was now drawn. The principle was proven. Cold could be manufactured. The next step required industrial scale. It came from an unlikely source. German breweries. For centuries, brewers could only make lager beer in the cool winter months. Fermentation required precise, low temperatures. This crippled production for half the year. In the 1870s, a scientist named Carl von Lindt changed everything. He refined the vapor compression cycle. Instead of air, he used a more efficient chemical, ammonia. Ammonia boils at a very low temperature. Lindt's system compressed ammonia gas until it became a hot liquid. This liquid then flowed through coils, releasing its heat. Finally, the cooled liquid ammonia passed through an expansion valve. It turned back into a frigid gas, absorbing heat from its surroundings. This cycle was a closed loop. It was a perfect, continuous heat pump. It didn't just make ice. It created refrigerated spaces. Breweries could now operate year-round. Von Lindt's technology spread rapidly. It transformed the meatpacking industry in Chicago. It allowed railways to ship perishable goods across the continent. The modern food supply chain was being born. The world was shrinking. But the true mastery of our environment was yet to come. The goal was no longer just to cool objects. It was to cool the very air we breathe. In 1902, a young engineer stood inside a printing plant in Brooklyn. His name was Willis. The plant had a problem, but it wasn't heat. It was humidity. On humid summer days, the paper would absorb moisture from the air. It would expand and contract. This subtle change ruined the alignment of the colored inks. The printed images were blurry and useless. The company was losing money. Carrier was tasked with solving this puzzle. He had a sudden flash of insight on a foggy train platform. He realized he could dry the air by cooling it. He could pass air over chilled coils. The water vapor in the air would condense on the coils, just like dew on a cold glass. By controlling the temperature of the coils, he could control the amount of moisture removed. He could achieve a precise, predictable level of humidity. His machine was installed in the printing plant. It was a massive success. Willis Carrier hadn't just solved a printing problem. He had invented modern air conditioning. He had created a system to precisely control both temperature and humidity. For decades, this technology was purely industrial. It was used in textile mills, munitions factories, and movie theaters. Theaters were among the first public places to be air-conditioned. They became summer oases, popularizing the summer blockbuster. Bringing this power into the home was the next frontier. Early home refrigerators appeared in the 1910s and 20s. They were a luxury item. And they were dangerous. They used the same toxic refrigerants as industrial systems. Ammonia, sulfur dioxide, methyl chloride. These chemicals were efficient, but a leak could be deadly. Newspapers ran horror stories of entire families being poisoned in their sleep. The industry needed a miracle. It needed a refrigerant that was effective, non-toxic, and non-flammable. The search began inside the laboratories of General Motors. In 1928, a team led by chemist Thomas Midgley Jr. was tasked with finding this miracle substance. They focused on a family of chemicals called chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs. They synthesized a new compound, dichlorodifluoromethane. They called it Freon. In 1930, at a meeting of the American Chemical Society, Midgley gave a dramatic demonstration. He inhaled a lungful of the new gas. Then, he slowly exhaled it over a lit candle. The flame was extinguished. The audience was stunned. Midgley had proven Freon was both non-toxic and non-flammable. It was the miracle the world was waiting for. This single invention unlocked the future of cooling. With Freon, the refrigerator became a household staple. It transformed kitchens and diets. It ended the daily trip to the market. Food could be preserved safely for weeks. After World War II, the American economy boomed. A new dream was being sold. A house in the suburbs. And central to that dream was air conditioning. Mass production made AC units affordable. Entire regions of the United States were transformed. The Sun Belt, from Florida to California, experienced an explosive population boom. Cities like Phoenix, Houston, and Las Vegas could not exist as they do without air conditioning. The same story unfolded across the globe. Singapore and Dubai became gleaming metropolises in punishing climates. Our mastery of cold had redrawn the map of human settlement. It reshaped our buildings. The era of high ceilings and wide verandas gave way to sealed glass skyscrapers. Architecture no longer had to fight the climate. It could simply ignore it. The world we built was a testament to our power over temperature. But this power came with a hidden cost. A planetary scale consequence nobody had foreseen. In the 1970s, scientists noticed something alarming. High in the atmosphere, a protective shield was thinning. The ozone layer, which blocks harmful ultraviolet radiation from the sun, was being depleted. In 1985, a massive hole was confirmed over Antarctica. The cause was a mystery. Then, two chemists, Mario Molina and Sherwood Rowland, proposed a terrifying hypothesis. The culprit was Midgley's miracle gas. The inert, stable CFCs were not breaking down in the lower atmosphere. Instead, they were slowly drifting upwards. Once in the stratosphere, UV radiation broke them apart. This released chlorine atoms. A single chlorine atom could act as a catalyst, destroying tens of thousands of ozone molecules. Our miracle refrigerant was destroying our planet's sunscreen. The discovery sent shockwaves through the scientific and political world. The threat was existential. Increased UV radiation could cause skin cancer, damage crops, and harm entire ecosystems. The industry that built the modern world was now threatening its future. What happened next was unprecedented. Faced with a global crisis, the world acted together. In 1987, nations gathered to sign the Montreal Protocol. It was an international treaty to phase out the production of ozone-depleting substances, including CFCs. Chemical companies, once resistant, were spurred to innovate. They raced to develop a new generation of refrigerants. The Montreal Protocol is now considered the most successful environmental treaty in history. The ozone layer is slowly healing. It was a testament to humanity's ability to solve a problem of its own making. But the story doesn't end there. The replacements for CFCs, known as HFCs, were safe for the ozone layer. But they were later found to be potent greenhouse gases, thousands of times more powerful than carbon dioxide. The blueprint for cooling is still being redrawn. Scientists are searching for new refrigerants with low global warming potential. Engineers are designing hyper-efficient systems that use less energy. Today, our reliance on this technology is absolute. The internet is powered by massive data centers. These centers generate immense heat and require constant, powerful cooling to function. Our global medical system depends on the cold chain. A continuous, refrigerated supply line that keeps vaccines and medicines stable from factory to patient. The recent global distribution of COVID-19 vaccines was one of the greatest cold chain logistical challenges in history. From the food on our tables, to the buildings we inhabit, to the digital world in our hands, it all depends on this invisible, silent process. The ability to move heat from one place to another. It is a secret that has been hiding in plain sight. A fundamental force that has allowed us to defy the climate, conquer decay, and build our modern civilization. We did not just learn to create cold. We used it to create a new world.